Meanwhile, the former defense official under Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton, and author of Destined for War, Graham Allison, on the importance of these meetings. You know, when you think, Graham, of the importance of two leaders getting to know each other, the first part is, well, getting to know each other, and that could take a while, right? I mean, in this case, what are you envisioning?
Well, I think you're certainly right. President Trump has said, though, that he'll get a sense for the man in about a minute. And I think, actually, if we listen to what he's said already and read his various communications, he's already got a feel for Kim Jong-un. I think as he's going to describe it, this is going to be a beautiful relationship.
Do you hope always springs eternal with American presidents who enter with great optimism and hope? They can sometimes be dashed. I know JFK was caught off guard with Nikita Khrushchev in 1961 in Vienna. He was only a couple of months into his presidency, I believe, at that point. Little different with Ronald Reagan, 5 years into his presidency with the Reykjavik summit with Mikhail Gorbachev, and he was more than seasoned and experienced enough in that case to walk away from a summit that wasn't going the way he wanted. What do you envision here?
Well, I've been taking bets for a couple of months that we're going to hear from both Trump and Kim Jong-un declarations of a great victory. Each of them will say this is a big win. And in fact, they'll then say, and they'll make a statement, I believe, that they've agreed that there'll be denuclearization of the peninsula, that there'll be the elimination of threats, the negotiation of a peace treaty, and even move towards ultimate reunification. And then they'll say the details have to be worked out by our subordinates, and they'll assign Pompeo and his counterpart to try to work out the details. I also suspect they'll announce that they'll have another meeting in another 3 or 4 months when they've reached the next set of benchmarks. So I'm rather hopeful.
So you don't expect an additional meeting right here immediately, or that they extend their stay? Both have already indicated that they're leaving tomorrow. I'm getting ahead of myself now, but they're 12 hours ahead of us. But that they would call for a follow-up chat, and where would that be?
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump invites him to Mar-a-Lago, but he could invite him to the White House.
How would you feel about that? That's a pretty significant thing. If they went and met at the White House, that assigns a very higher stature than would normally be expected.
It would, but I think this is an unusual president, and he'll play it, I think, the way that he does, with feeling the situation. I think Mar-a-Lago might even seem more intriguing to Kim Jong-un. In fact, I'm just half teasing. I suggested if they did that, they might want to take him to see Disneyland.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're right by a Universal theme park, right around the block from where they're located right now. But let me ask you about...
You could see him wandering around Singapore thinking, what in the world?
Absolutely.
There's a real world out there.
You know, Graham, that's what I wanted to pursue with you, the very real world impression that a young leader, I think 33, 34-year-old Kim Jong-un has now, who's rarely gotten out of his country. We have these famous shots, of course, from space of North Korea at night. It's virtually pitch dark, right below South Korea, lit up like a Christmas tree. I think sometimes he wants some of that, the excitement of being in Singapore, the excitement of some of his busy travel plans he has. How much do you think is this a restless young man, whatever his controversies, the butchery, he carries a great deal of baggage, awful baggage. But at his core is a young guy who doesn't want to be trapped in a country that is quite literally the hermit kingdom of the world.
I think you're just right. I think that Trump would describe it as some kind of hole, and I think it is. And your point about going to Google and looking at the night is a shocking experience. So he's aware that there's a real world out there, though he doesn't know much about it. His sister was surprised when she went to Seoul to see the Olympics. And I think I was fascinated that he decided to go on a little walking tour last night just to see what Singapore is like. I don't think Trump chose Singapore by accident. He wanted them to see. I mean, when Lee Kuan Yew became the head of Singapore just 60 years ago, Singapore was about as poor as Korea is today. Singapore today has a higher per capita income than the U.S. So I think Trump's trying to get in his head with the notion that, heck, you could be in charge of the next Singapore.
Very interesting read. Graham Allison, always good seeing you. Thank you very, very much. Good read on things.
Thank you.